On September 13th, 2001, the ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Prince Bandar, arrived at the White House. A longtime acquaintance of President Bush and his family, the occasion was somber because thousands of Americans had been killed in a terrorist operation, mainly executed by Saudi nationals. Prince Bandar and President Bush retreated to the Truman balcony, lit up two cohibas, and discussed their future cooperative effort to combat terrorism. President Bush said that the U.S. government would hand over any al-Qaeda operatives to the Saudis if they refused to cooperate. The implication was clear. The Saudis could use any means necessary, including torture, to get the suspects to talk.
The attacks of September 11th on United States soil was followed by a military campaign in Afghanistan, in which the Taliban was ousted from power and al-Qaeda retreated into the lawless Afghani-Pakistani border. For months, United States, coalition forces, and foreign intelligence services searched for high-knowledge al-Qaeda operatives who could give them valuable information about any future attacks.
In March of 2002, the Pakistan's ISI, along with the CIA's Special Activities Division, captured Abu Zubaydah in Faisalabad, Pakistan. Upon capture, he was treated for wounds and flown to a Thai jail near Bangkok. Zubaydah refused to speak Arabic with his captors, instead opting to speak decent English. It was at that jail that the CIA would first resort to physical pressure to get information, methods from the military's Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape Training Program, also known as SEER, which the majority of the CIA's paramilitary officers had completed themselves. In March of 2003, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was captured in Rawalpindi, Pakistan by ISI, Pakistan's intelligence agency. According to the Pentagon, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed admitted to being behind the attacks in New York and Washington A to Z. He was also brought in on charges that he was behind the decapitating murder of United States journalist Daniel Pearl in 2002 and a bombing of nightclubs in Bali in 2002. On April 16, 2009, 4 previously classified memos were released to the American public, all of them from the Office of Legal Counsel of the Justice Department to the CIA, recommending, in their views, lawful methods of interrogation. One of the memos, dated August 1, 2002, instructed those in the CIA to move into the increased pressure phase, where 10 techniques of the SEER training program were encouraged to extract crucial information from Zubaydah. Methods from the same program were used on Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, as well as other detainees. The 10 SEER techniques recommended by the August 1st memo include the attention grab, grasping the individual with both hands, one hand on each side of the collar opening in a controlled and quick motion. In the same motion as the grasp, the individual is drawn towards the interrogator. Walling. A flexible wall will be constructed. The individual is placed with his heels touching the wall. The interrogator pulls the individual forward and quickly and firmly pushes the individual into the wall. It is the individual's shoulder blades that will hit the wall. During this motion, the head and neck are supported with a rolled hood or towel that provides a C-collar effect to help prevent whiplash. To further reduce the probability of injury, the individual is allowed to rebound from the flexible wall. You have orally informed us that the false wall is in part constructed to create a loud sound when the individual hits it, which will further shock or surprise the individual. In part, the idea is to create a sound that will make the impact seem far worse than it is, and will be far worse than any injury that might result. Facial hold. Used to hold the head immobile. One open palm is placed on either side of the individual's face. The fingertips are kept well away from the individual's eyes. Facial slap. The interrogator slaps the individual's face with fingers slightly spread. The hand makes contact with the area directly between the tip of the individual's chin and the bottom of the corresponding earlobe. The interrogator invades the individual's personal space. The goal of the facial slap is not to inflict physical pain that is severe or lasting. Instead, the purpose of the facial slap is to induce shock and/or humiliation. Cramped confinement. Involves the placement of the individual in a confined space, the dimensions of which restrict the individual's movement. The confined space is dark. The duration of confinement varies based upon the size of the container. For the larger confined space, the individual can stand up or sit down. The smaller space is large enough for the subject to sit down. Confinement in the largest space can last up to 18 hours. For the small space, confinement should last for no more than 2 hours. Wall standing, used to induce muscle fatigue. The individual stands about 4 to 5 feet from a wall with his feet spread approximately shoulder width. His arms are stretched out in front of him with his fingers resting on the wall. His fingers support all of his body weight. Stress positions. You have been informed that these positions are not designed to produce the pain associated with contortions or twisting of the body. Rather, somewhat like walling, they are designed to produce the physical discomfort associated with muscle fatigue. Sleep deprivation. You have indicated that your purpose in using this technique is to reduce the individual's ability to think on his feet, and through the discomfort associated with lack of sleep, to motivate him to cooperate. The effect of such sleep deprivation will generally remit after 1 or 2 nights of uninterrupted sleep. You have informed us that your research has revealed that, in rare instances, some individuals who are already predisposed to psychological problems may experience abnormal reactions to sleep deprivation. Even in those cases, however, reactions abate after the individual is permitted to sleep. Moreover, personnel with medical training are available and will intervene in the unlikely event of an abnormal reaction. You have orally informed us that you would not deprive Zubaida of sleep for more than 11 days at a time, and that you will have previously kept him awake for 72 hours, from which no mental or physical harm resulted. Insects placed in a confinement box. You would like to place Zubaida in a cramped confinement box with an insect. You have informed us that he appears to have a fear of insects. In particular, you would like to tell Zubaida that you intend to place a stinging insect into the box with him. You would, however, place a harmless insect into the box. The waterboard. In this procedure, the individual is bound securely to an inclined bench, which is approximately 4 feet by 7 feet. The individual's feet are generally elevated. A cloth is placed over the forehead and eyes. Water is then applied to the cloth in a controlled manner. As this is done, the cloth is lowered until it covers both the nose and mouth. Once the cloth is saturated and completely covers the mouth and nose, airflow is tightly restricted for 20 to 40 seconds due to the presence of the cloth. This causes an increase in carbon dioxide level in the individual's blood. This increase in the carbon dioxide level stimulates increased effort to breathe. This effect plus the cloth produces the perception of suffocation and incipient panic, i.e., the perception of drowning. You have orally informed us that this procedure triggers an automatic psychological sensation of drowning that the individual cannot control, even though he may be aware that he is in fact not drowning. You have also orally informed us that it is likely that this procedure would not last for more than 20 minutes in any one application.
Do you disagree with your dad at all about enhanced interrogations? Because my attitude is that if we capture an enemy combatant in the battlefield, or we can use Osama bin Laden, who may have information about a pending attack, you know what, I don't have any problem taking his head, sticking it in water, and scaring the living daylights out of him thinking we're drowning him. And I'm a Christian. But if we may save lives using those techniques, why shouldn't we use them?
Because I think it's what separates us from the terrorists. And I think, you know, my father could never lift me up as a child because he can't move his arm, and he can't ride a bike because he can't bend his knee because he was tortured. And I think he knows better than, no offense, you maybe.